Okay, everyone, it's your boy CVE, as my Twitter says, Kelly versus everything.
Egotistical and naive.
Um, this was a crazy night to get into. Crazy night of Impact Wrestling. Probably a little bit too much for me to get into, but let's start with the intro. Intro was amazing. All the new stars were established into it. Pentagon and Phoenix were added into it, so that's actually pretty interesting. Does that mean they're signed? I would hope so. Those would be two spectacular talents to be a part of the Impact Wrestling roster. Alright, enough of that. Let's jump into the Eli Drake promo. It gets intense, he throws some lines, same lines that he always throws, which gets kind of a little bit of annoying, but I see what he goes for. LAX interrupts. Santana and Ortiz is in the sideline, let Conan do his thing. Conan is the voice of the group, so I guess that makes sense. A lot of insults were thrown out just to get inside Eli Drake's head. Conan wants to know who his partner is. And Eli Drake is someone you know. It's someone you've worked with. It's someone you know deeply about. So he brings out the big bad booty daddy, Scott Steiner. Oh, we cut to commercial break after all that. And then they give Scott Steiner a mic. They give Scott Steiner a mic. Scott Steiner speaks about he's one half of the greatest tag team in professional wrestling, and that's the Steiner brothers. Then he starts throwing out lines of millennials and some other things. And he says, look it up on YouTube, look it up on Google, I'm world famous, bitch. Which I completely laughed my ass off on that one. That was hilarious. Then Conan responds with the allegations. I don't know what you just said or what language you were speaking, but I got something to say. He wants to know if Steiner is there for a payday or just to generate a buzz, because his boys are actually there to fight. They're actually there to win. They're actually there to gain some sort of reputation. So then he targets Eli and says, have you thought about him actually showing up? Have you actually thought about him trying to get inside Eli Drake's head? I didn't really like that because we all know Scott Steiner is a professional. He'll do what he needs to do to get across, right? So that was enough of that. Then we get a flashback of Jade versus Rosemary in the steel cage. This was probably one of my favorite steel cage matches. It was brutal, it was violent, a lot of weapons were brought into it. Jade does some crazy ass spot on top of the cage, which kind of knocked the wind out of her in a minute. But then she does another thing and then just gets misted in the face with the mist of transformation. I don't know all the colors of the mist that Rosemary brings, but I think yellow is transformation. She does a green one, she does a red one. You would have to ask Rosemary what her names are for all of them. But that was that. Then we get a segment backstage about the whole Moose incident with Eddie and how his wife was brought into it, and then Moose was brought into it, and then it all culminated at Impact Wrestling Lucha Underground. Craziness, just absolute craziness. So, commercial break, yada yada yada. Moose versus Callahan was brought out. The match was too crazy to actually call it. I will list what I can. So many spots. The Moose tried doing the spit on hand slap that Callahan does, and Callahan ducked out of the ring to avoid it. So Moose chases him around the ring and slaps him anyways with it still on his hand. I would sanitize the Impact Zone if I were Impact. That was a bit gnarly. So back and forth, physical battle on top of the rope. Callahan does some moves, Moose does some moves, pump kicks, drop kicks, the hesitation drop kick. I want to talk about that for a minute. How does Moose do that? How does he suspend himself in mid-air for about 2 seconds before hitting the ground? You're supposed to fall, not float. That's a thing of beauty, and I really wish he would do it a lot more so I can actually learn his tricks, so to speak. But I digress. It ends in disqualification because I guess Callahan has had enough of his games, Moose's games, so he hits him in the head with the baseball bat. Covered, obviously. So OVE comes out, gets a piece of Moose. They take him out. A lot of craziness happens. Eddie comes out to defend Moose, takes down Sammy with a little video game takedown. That was actually pretty funny. But to no avail. He gets ganged up upon by OVE. Jake and Dave know how to work an angle, work a swarm mentality, so Eddie stood no chance. Callahan and Eddie had him pinned. Sammy was about to do the whole bat thing again. Alicia comes out. It was great seeing her. Gorgeous woman. Wearing some red kicks, red blouse, nice white pants, which I don't know if that was wise, being that she's confronting Sami Callihan, but that's another story for another day, and there's a Deadpool reference in there somewhere. You're welcome. Anyways, so Sammy does not like that one bit, so he threatens Alicia, "I'm gonna break your pretty face," quote unquote. So Alicia's cowering in the corner, and it's the screen goes black for about a good 5 seconds. The lights come back on. Tommy Dreamer is there, pissed the fuck off with a kendo stick and starts wailing on OVE, takes out Sami Callihan, pile drives him. Sammy falls out to the ring, and Tommy announces, "You know, I'm pretty much sick of this. I started a revolution. I am the revolution. You're starting one. You're not doing too good of a job of it." That's probably a paraphrase. But then he says, "I got a soldier from the Moose. And I got a man who you broke his face in front of his wife. So I say, we take the 3 of us versus the 3 of you, and we have a House of Hardcores match." Now, I don't know what that is. Is that an Extreme Rules match? Is that where everyone in the arena has a weapon that they can throw to the opponent? I don't really know. But since it is a 6-man tag, I think it's going to be Tornado, so it's actually probably going to be pretty crazier than anything ECW has ever done, which Impact has always been the best thing about implicating ideas and making them 10 times better. The Raven House of Orange match, the scaffolding match, the Lethal Lockdown match, they've always picked a little tiny gimmick and just blew it out of the water. So that's going to be really cool to see. Then we got the Josh versus Petey Williams match. I really don't know how to get into this. A lot of craziness happened. Josh was carrying out of the ring a lot, which does what Josh does, which we kind of love him for and kind of hate him for. I don't know if this was a serious match. I think it was basically to get inside Petey Williams' head. Sido interferes about a dozen times. It was a really fun match. I just don't think I'll watch it again. It was one of those one watch, one sees, and forget about it kind of matches. But it was obviously to set up and screw with Petey for the redemption match. I digress. So, then we get into Johnny's interview, which I'm a huge fan of Johnny Impact. For those that know, I was a huge fan of John Morrison. I was a huge fan of his thing with The Miz. Glad to see he's off doing his own thing and making names and making impacts, so to speak.
Poison Ivy.
But Jimmy and Kong want to play mind games and interfere in his match, and Johnny interfered in his interview. Sorry if I keep on messing up. I'm trying to get into this as fast as I can since I'm on a 30-minute time limit. Anyways, so Jimmy and Congo interrupt, and Johnny gets a little pissed off. He's like, "I'm getting tired of you interrupting my interviews. These are my interviews." Like, I'd be kind of pissed too. And Johnny's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go to the ring next week, and if you guys want to come out, you guys are invited. I don't know what's gonna go down, but something's gonna happen. So we're gonna do this." Oh, so that's exciting for next week. I'm good to see another match of Johnny Impact, especially with Congo Kong. So that's actually gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be a physical battle. It's gonna be a high flying versus physical. Um, it's gonna be like I think Matanza versus Johnny Mundo. So it's a fun little match right there. Then we got a 6-man tag match. This was an absolute fun match. I'm not going to get into the details. It was just good to see some good quality guys, friends and stuff, just battle for their empowerment. I do not like how KM walk openly fat shame Richard Justice. I mean, he is a standby wrestler. He's not on the roster per se. But he is a guy, and we all have to respect him for what he does for us. So that was a very cringy thing, and they brought up the whole jokes, well, the one-line jokes about the watch being bigger than your wrist, so you take up 2 time zones, whatever. But that was that, and so Caleb Conley, Trevor Lee, and KM come out, separate music. They come to the stage and get a big crowd of boos. If you can't hear them, that's on you. And then the big guys, I'm going to call them the fat kids that rule the world. Because they are 3 of the biggest dudes in professional wrestling right now that I know. So, then we get, they come down, ba ba, music comes, and everyone goes ba, 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 ba. Then, Richard Justice comes out, and there's absolute silence, which, poor Richard Justice. I'm sorry. Or Richard Justice, he gets no love. And then Tyrus comes out to the ominous sounding music of the apocalypse. I really don't know how to describe it. And he Falaba and Richard Justice put their hands out to fist bump, and Tyrus is like, alright, bumps him. And so they go into this match, and it's total crazy, total anarchy, and I which I love. But I'm not going to get into it too much. Steamroll spot by Fala, interferences with the other tag, a lot of heel work with Caleb and Trevor. But the match ended with Tyrus, Richard Justice, and Fala working together. And Fala got his first win, which I'm really excited about. I like Fala. Fala is a fun guy. They compare him to Yokozuna, but I don't see it. Yokozuna was a serious wrestler. He was not a comedic based and did not have fun doing his job. He just loved hurting people. And he didn't speak or do other things, so I don't see the resemblance. Also, Fala can wrestle, and Yokozuna isn't just someone that stands there and hits something and then wins the match by squishing his opponent. I don't understand how Yokozuna got in the business. I don't understand why people like him, but that's that of that. So, let me take a deep breath. Rosemary versus Taya in a demon dance match. This was an absolute crazy ass match. These 2 knockouts have the best entrance. Taya walks onto a Game of Thrones-esque kind of way, and the whole crowd is silent but scared, but appreciated about it. Rosemary comes out to the Highlands Call. Oh, it's so great seeing her interact with the fans and get in the face like her Mysterio does, but you can actually see the bonding, the responses, and everything else. But that's the emphasis. Everything about this match was physical and crazy from the start. A lot of chairs were thrown into, a lot of weapons. They fight on the ramp for about a good 2 minutes with trying to portray finishers onto the ramp, so you know it's gonna hurt. To no avail, no one does it. So they battle down. Rosemary throws Taya down the ramp, doing that whole falling down the stairs kind of spot, but it's like a ramp, so it's much smoother. Then Taya gets up and suplexes Rosemary in front of the Highlands. They all cry and do the little, oh no! Taya laughs at their discomfort. There was a few spots that I can't really go over. Taya brings in a lot of chairs, sets up chairs in the corner. They go physical for a minute, ignore the chairs. Then Taya sets up one in the corner, and they go physical. Rosemary and Taya counter it, and then Taya puts a chair in the face of Rosemary and does her double knee pound stomp into the corner, which was super cool to see a chair introduced into it. I don't think Taya has ever done that before. I don't think she did on Lucha Underground either, so that was pretty cool. And after that, she puts a chair in between Rosemary's legs. I don't want to come off sexist or rude by this, but that was a very difficult thing to watch. I do not know how sensitive that is for girls down there, because guys, yeah, that would obviously hurt, but a cervical spike in that area, I guess it kind of hurts. I don't know. So after that, Rosemary is a bit wounded. She sling blades Taya to a chair. Rosemary brings in a ladder, sets it up in the corner. They fight, defend against it, trying not to hit it. Taya does the first cover, kicks out. Rosemary kicks out at 2. They fight again, doing ladder spots. Rosemary flips Taya into the chair like a judo flip from the TV show Archer. I don't know if most people watch it, or Austin Powers, I think it was, when they take the arm and just flip the opponent with their full weight. So that was actually pretty cool. Rosemary brings out a table. Taya and Rosemary battle. Taya plants Rosemary's head into the table. They battle again, physical craziness. It was absolutely nuts. Taya's in the corner where the chair is, and Taya baits Rosemary. Rosemary goes head first into the chair. You could hear the sound of the impact from everywhere. It was actually pretty cool. Not for Rosemary's sake, obviously. And then they go on the top rope. The table's set up. Rosemary's on it. Rosemary kicks Taya's leg off the top rope, so she tries to get her balance. They counterfest on there for about a good minute. I mean, there was a lot of time up there on the top rope. I'm surprised nothing dropped, nothing suspended. They didn't lose their balance, which is actually pretty awesome that they didn't. But then they counter each other's finishers. Taya tries for the Valhalla. Rosemary spreads her legs so she can't do it. Rosemary tries for the Red Wedding. Taya counters that. Taya tries for the Valhalla again. Rosemary comes out with headbutts, so Taya's stunned. Then Rosemary turns around and works her way into the top ropes and tries figuring out the whole balance over that, and tries to put Taya into a difficult position, and Taya gets pile driven through the table. Now that was a really ridiculous situation. Rosemary won the match. I do want to see these girls continue doing their thing. I really like Taya and Rosemary, and I think the reason they showed the whole flashback with Jade and Rosemary tonight is because I think they want to, I don't know, rebirth the feud, but with a different opponent. I mean, Taya and Rosemary do clash very well, and I do see some more violence in their future, which I really want to see. So, that was the craziness. I'm sorry if I stumbled a bit. This is my first initial video, and I'm doing my best. I'm a very eccentric person, so I come on very fast. So then we close the show with the happenings of Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground. That was a monumental event. I absolutely loved it. Everything about it. The stars of Lucha Underground versus the stars of Impact. And it was absolutely great. Too much craziness to respond. I'm not a commentator. I'm just a viewer and a describer. I hope to get more into this. I don't know. This was a lot to go through. I'll be honest, it was crazy. But then they bring up the whole thing with the conference call of Alberto El Patron. I'll be honest, I was a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Alberto El Patron. He has been nothing but kind to me. When I met him in Salinas, he was a super nice guy. I did not see this kind of thing taking place. But then again, we all saw the conference call and press conference, and things did get a little off script and heated. And a lot of words were thrown, and I guess Alberto took it serious, so he went to go do some other things with his life. We do have teammates, so I don't think we should throw too much shade at Alberto El Patron, especially because, hey, now we get Phoenix and Pentagon versus Austin Aries, so, I mean, it's a win-win, right? I mean, it is sad to see Alberto El Patron go, but I digress. I did not like how he was on camera and openly said, "I do not care about Lucha Underground, quote unquote. I'm gonna kick his ass." But I'm going to kick his ass, quote unquote. So, I don't know. I'm sensing a swerve, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Then they close out the show was announcing that then we head back to New Orleans next week for the main event of Impact Wrestling vs. Lucha Underground. And it's going to be Phoenix versus Pentagon, Junior versus Austin Aries. They're actually going to show the Impact Wrestling vs. Lucha Underground main event on TV next week. So you do not want to miss that. Alright. So that's it for now. I will close this video. Like and subscribe. Share if you want. I know my voice is not the best voice around, but hey, I'm trying. So at least give me that good first college try. Alright. Bye for now, and I will update this soon. I think I will be doing something with the roster soon. I will be running down the roster, because people are misplaced and everything else, so I think I will be doing that sometime next week. Then Thursday, I will be doing a rundown of the card once I get all the info. Friday, I will be doing another update of the craziness, and then Saturday, I believe I will be doing the rundown of Redemption and what craziness could happen and everything else. Those are going to be a lot smoother to watch than this. I'm trying to figure out which games to play where I can actually fully talk and speak my mind without being distracted of my own craziness of gameplay. So, let me know in the comments what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what you want me to do. If you want me to get more verbal, just let me know. I want your thoughts. I want this to be something we can all enjoy. And therefore, that's it for now. I will update you Wednesday. I gotta look at the roster and take a bunch of screenshots and take more notes. Alright. Peace. Bye. See you next week.